Yo, what's good? What's good? It's the one, the only, but what do I know? Boxing back at you to talk about the state of the super middleweight division. I think that I definitely have some things I want to talk about, man, because I feel like we should be getting some big fights this year. And mainly between my dude David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. I really feel like, man, I really feel like we should be getting a big fight between those two this year. Should both guys get past their scheduled bouts. We all know David Benavidez has a bout against David Lemieux scheduled next week, and then it's rumored that Caleb Plant will be fighting Anthony Durrell. And I just feel like should they get past both fights, it's no excuse. It's no excuse why we shouldn't get Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez this coming up fall. I know that Caleb Plant was saying that David Benavidez was in line to fight Canelo, but honestly speaking, Canelo's schedule is tied up. Should he get the rematch with Dimitry Bivol? Now, personally, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. I don't think this is just my theory right here. I think that we could possibly be getting a Canelo versus Triple G 3 because I do feel like this, bro. And I know y'all don't want to hear that, but this is just check me out. I feel like the Canelo versus the Dimitry Bivol negotiations for the rematch is gonna cause friction between the two, between the fight being made. Obviously, Canelo just came out with a statement saying that he would want the fight to be he feels better at 168. Then Dimitry Bivol also came out with a statement saying that he hopes to be treated like the champion going into the rematch. Now, see, the thing is, you have a fighter who is the face of boxing, quote unquote, in Canelo Alvarez, versus a fighter that's less known to casuals in Dimitry Bivol. And when you have that, a fighter who's the face of boxing versus a fighter who is less known, but in this situation, the fighter that's less known beat the boxer that's the face of boxing, which was, Dimitry Bivol beating Canelo. It's gonna be friction going into the negotiation because Canelo's gonna still feel like, hey, I'm the face of boxing. I'm the one that brings more revenue. I should get more of the money. I should get this, that, and the third. But Dimitry Bivol is more so like, bro, I'm the champion and I beat you. Canelo possibly trying to make a fight at 168. I just feel like the rematch is gonna be prolonged if the rematch even happens due to failing in negotiations between Canelo and Dimitry Bivol. Like I said, I feel like Canelo is still gonna try to flex the fact that he's the face of boxing, he's the cash cow. But Dimitry Bivol is gonna, rightfully so, say, hey, I beat you. I'm the champion and I beat you. It's time I get treated like it, because even in the first fight, even though Dimitry Bivol was the champion, Canelo got to walk out second. I think Canelo was even announced second, and Dimitry Bivol took less money. So that's why I think Dimitry Bivol was more so like, I hope I get treated like the champion going into the rematch. But I think that that's gonna cause problems for the rematch. I think I heard, I just think that would be the dumbest thing ever for Dimitry Bivol to go down to 168. It's no point. I know Dimitry Bivol is not the biggest light heavyweight, but I just don't think that's any point. So I said that to say, I don't think that David Benavidez will be getting a Canelo fight, at least not until possibly the end of next year. Possibly the end of 2023. And the reason why I say that is because should Canelo get the rematch with Bivol, they'll have that fight, and then Canelo, I think, is still opt to fight Triple G. And so the rematch with Bivol will be the end of this year, Triple G will be the top of next year. But again, I don't know if that fight, I just have a feeling that negotiations are going to derail that fight. So either that fight with Dimitry Bivol and Canelo 2 will be pushed back, or it probably won't happen, not next at least. And then if that's the case, Canelo would then fight Triple G later this year. nevertheless, I just feel like that with that being said, it's no other excuse why we shouldn't be able to get a Caleb Plant versus versus David Benavidez fight this year. We should definitely be getting that fight. So right now I have the top super middleweights. We have Canelo Alvarez, obviously, who's undisputed. We have David Benavidez, who lost his title to the scales. We have Caleb Plant, who just came off of a loss from Canelo. We have Danny Jacobs, who hasn't been looking too good, but lost his fight against I can't even, bro. That's crazy. I can't even think of the name. John Ryder. That's his name. But a lot of people dispute that. A lot of people feel like Danny Jacobs should have won that fight. Then we have David Morrell, who just recently called out David Benavidez. David Morrell is fighting a close friend of mine, Calvin Henderson. Looking forward to that fight. And then we have John Ryder himself, who just came off of an upset victory against, Danny Jacobs. Though many people feel like he lost that fight. So these are the names, man. Like, listen, we need these big fights. Whether it be David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant, or David Morrell, or John Ryder, or Danny Jacobs, or vice versa with Caleb Plant. All these guys need to fight each other. Honorable mention is Jamal Charlo, but the reason why I didn't bring up Jamal Charlo because he has not yet campaigned at 168. So I just feel like there's no excuse why we shouldn't get a big fight at super middleweight later this year, not having Canelo's name in it. I mean, of course, I feel like Canelo will fight Triple G again if the Dimitry fight doesn't come through. And I kind of feel like that fight is gonna fail at negotiation. That's just my theory. Anyways, so with that being said, man, my favorite fight, of course, obviously would be David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant, because it's history between the two. He's going back and forth. They've even gotten into an altercation with not David Benavidez and Caleb Plant himself, but David Benavidez' team and Caleb Plant got into an altercation at a gym. David Benavidez was there. So that would be my favorite, but I'm not mad. David Benavidez just recently came out and said that he would be interested in fighting David Morrell if none of these other guys want to get the fight with him. That's an easy fight to be made. Both fighters on PBC. Should David Morrell get past Calvin Henderson, and that's for the WBA regular title. So that's a good matchup. Danny Jacobs, I like to see him back in the mix. Danny Jacobs hasn't been really looking good. Actually, to be honest, if I'm gonna be quite honest, Danny Jacobs' last best performance was against Triple G. I don't think Danny Jacobs looked good since then. So, but I would like to see a Danny Jacobs versus John Ryder rematch, or Danny Jacobs versus Caleb Plant. Even though I understand, you guys gotta take everything I say in a fantasy league. Unfortunately, that's the way boxing is today. I understand that Danny Jacobs is with DAZN. And the rest of, and Canelo is too, but the rest of these guys, and then I think John Ryder might be. So 3 of these guys are with DAZN, 3 of these guys with PBC. But again, I mean, this is just me speaking. I think that we should get these fights. Obviously, I didn't put Billy Joe Saunders there. I think Billy Joe Saunders is retired. I didn't put Triple G there because he has not campaigned at 168, even though a fight with him and Canelo would be at the weight of 168 of super middleweight. I haven't put his name on there, but again, I just would love to. I think that by the end of this year, we're due for a big fight at super middleweight, not being named Canelo. And I think that there's no excuse. If we don't get a big fight between Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, more specifically with those two, by the end of this year, then I definitely think that somebody is ducking somebody. There's no excuse. Both guys have the same manager, Cuba Aris. I forgot his name, Cuba something. He's the manager of both Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, and both of them are advised by Al Heyman. Both of them are with the PBC. That's literally the easiest fight that could possibly be made out of all these fighters that we see. So we're definitely due for a big fight, not being named Canelo. These guys don't need to be waiting on Canelo. I think David Benavidez wants that fight. I think Caleb Plant wants that fight. Let's make that fight happen. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. What matchups would you like to see? But what do I know?